Yesterday was my 32nd birthday, and I thought it would be apt, considering my 31st year was so filled with lessons, to share a little bit about everything I learned. And hey, maybe it's for a follower that's a little bit younger than me, maybe it's for followers that are older than me that just can relate to some of my experiences. But last year was really the year I had to learn in every single way what it meant to choose myself. And that was a path that was incredibly challenging and difficult. And I think those difficulties are so often underestimated by the external world. And it's because we have this culture, right? We have this culture where we always see the end result. And I'm so mindful in what I'm building to show the process. And it was actually very beautiful because some of my birthday messages yesterday acknowledge that very thing. I love how you share the raw reality of the entrepreneurial journey because I'm actually passionate about the spiritual journey, and entrepreneurship just happens to be the vehicle in which I'm journeying that level of self-development and spiritual development. And what I mean by that is because of the nature of what I'm creating, especially as it's so entwined with an understanding of human emotion and the fundamental essence of what it means to be human and the impact I want to have on the world, these things combined, plus the very real challenges that come and the sacrifices that come with growing a startup, it inevitably has pushed me to understand more spiritual dimensions of this reality. And this is something that I want to start talking about more. And in all honesty, it's something I used to talk about more. And then I started building this technology and probably if you've been following me for years, you've probably noticed that there's more of a scientific or sort of technical shift in my content. But I really want this year to be the year that these two things come together. I still had elements of my journey that I had to move through and navigate in order to feel ready to share that, because I actually don't think these two things are separate at all. And the understanding of principles, like metaphysical principles, are key to everything I've ever created, truly. And I want to share that with more founders and more entrepreneurs and more creators and more systems thinkers, because there is a different way of doing things, which is more around working with the laws of reality than sort of the hustle and grind and ticking all the right boxes. And, you know, we can optimize the way that we're creating. And I think that that's incredibly necessary. And it's necessary to understand these fundamental laws as we move into a technological era. Because what's going to come into question is this sense of purpose for the first time. You know, we're not going to be defined anymore by the mundane, menial tasks that we once were. You know, we need to move beyond that. And so I think that really matters, and I'm going to make more content about that. I'd love you to tell me if that's interesting content for you guys. I want to work on my YouTube channel more and put the shorts obviously on Instagram and write more thought leadership articles, which I was doing a little bit of last year, but I want to really kind of take that up a notch. I have a lot to say. I think the world needs leaders who are coming from a perspective of multidimensional awareness, and who are interested in touching spiritual dimensions of the human experience. It's going to become more and more important. And so I'd love your feedback on what content resonates. You know, I think social media is meant to be social. It's meant to be a two-way conversation. And so I love it when you guys talk to me. But last year, I found myself in so many unconventional situations where my mind was like in so much judgment that I could ever find myself in certain relationship dynamics, professional challenges, you know, trying to close around that just literally felt like it almost broke me. And then I just got there and sort of the nth degree at the end of last year on Christmas Eve, actually. And when you go through all of these things, it teaches you so much about yourself. And so many things that I thought I had figured out came back up for reevaluation. And I learned on an even deeper level the importance of humility and the importance of curiosity and the importance of accepting that we do not know it all. And as soon as we think we do, life is going to throw us in the deep end and help us understand once again that actually, you know, we don't know anything. The wise man realizes that they know nothing, and I think that that's very true. And so all that being said, I learned this very key lesson, which I reflected on yesterday on my Instagram story, which was this shift from understanding that true integrity is not actually anchored in this moral righteousness of wrong and right. That I'm going to do all the right things because the rules say so. Not that I was ever a rule-abiding person, but these kind of traps that we get caught in around what's wrong and right, what we should do versus what we shouldn't do, versus integrity that's really anchored in our own conscience and our own awareness. And living in alignment with that, which is actually about trusting ourselves and being connected to our body and having the intelligence in our body online so that we can listen to that and not go against that. One of the things I had to heal from my childhood, especially going through something like an eating disorder, was this sort of severe compartmentalization. That was a pattern that I had to learn to break, that followed me into my adult years. And even though I'd overcome a lot of it, there was this remnants of it that was still affecting my ability to have total, unbreakable, uncompromising integrity in every aspect of my life, which I knew that I needed to be able to create what I'm creating. Because with developing a tech innovation comes the potential to inherit a lot of power. So you need to be able to hold that power, which comes down to actually the internal integrity you are able to achieve. Because all that energy is going to run through you. If you don't have that integrity emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, you're going to fall apart. And so will whatever you're creating. And so it was a massive, massive lesson in that. So I just wanted to share kind of the highlights. I'd actually love to do a deeper dive, maybe on my YouTube channel, around all of these lessons. I'd love to hear your comments and see if any of you shared those themes through last year. But other than that, I want to wish you a very, very happy new year. And I know 2025 is going to be an amazing year for the world, and I can't wait.